I'm wondering if you can talk about your experiences at Johns Hopkins, and the late Roland Griffiths, who got some criticism towards the end of his career and after he passed away, in terms of perhaps being biased in a religious manner, or having a guru complex, or perhaps not adequately publicizing, let's say, the suicide of a patient who was in a placebo arm of a study. I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit about that and what your perspective is on that.
Well, as you know, Roland and I began that research in 1999, so I had a front row seat for all of it. Roland, my beloved friend, was not especially a religious person. He did have a meditation practice that made him open to exploring psychedelics, that he had experienced something quite meaningful in a meditation experience. But he was at the beginning not at all convinced of the value of them. Bob Jesse brought the two of us together, and he wanted to get psychedelic research moving again, and it seemed a reasonable thing to do. Uh, but Roland was quite guarded and skeptical. And over the years, uh, it was almost annoying sometimes because he would want to interview, insofar as possible, everyone who had a psychedelic experience afterwards and hear all the details of the experience. But he was intrigued at the rapid changes in decreased depression and anxiety that many of our research volunteers reported. And most recently, we did this project with professional religious leaders that's still pending publication. Uh, but to refer to my friend Matt, um, he went through a stage. I don't know if he's still there or not. We had a little statue of a Buddha in the room, and he would like to remove it from the room before we ran a session. And, I have no objection to that. But in all my 20 years, I don't remember any patient meditating on the Buddha or seeing the Buddha come to life. It was simply seemed an appropriate sculpture to have in the room when I first designed it. And I would suggest that the Buddha is simply the one who woke up. And in that framework, there is a Buddha within everyone. You know, you can't take it out of the room. It's in the room. Um, um, but there were many varieties of experience, some with religious implications and some without. But we were not at all suggesting religious content. Uh, in fact, very good, highly respected atheists and agnostics, uh, not uncommonly had profoundly revelatory forms of experience. Um, so I think there were probably many currents of going on at Hopkins there. I was not on site much in the last few years, and I'm not sure exactly what may have transpired between Roland and Matt, for example. Um, but
Yeah.
the, as a whole, the Hopkins operation uh, has been and continues to be uh, well scientifically grounded. I also feel that the Hopkins Center for Psychedelic and Consciousness Research, now with a staff of over 85 people, a budget of multi-millions of dollars, moving into new spaces, that its task is to be an interdisciplinary center, you know, that certainly can include good research in psychopharmacology or whatever. But I think the scope of the center needs to be much broader than that. And I think the current director would agree with me on that.